Should sit down first. Okay, hello everybody, and we are live. Oh, and that camera is on. Awesome. We are live on Your Cosmic Connection on the Facebook, and my name is Kristina. This is Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Riley. Thank you for inviting me onto your show today.
On my show. Ooh, I have a show.
You have a show.
Awesome. So today we will be. This chair is not comfy. Just being raw, there's no edited things, just we're all humans,
She brought in the torture chairs today to keep us sitting up straight.
Right. Okay. So we're just gonna talk about some cool stuff, what you do here at Your Cosmic Connection, and we will get to know you a little more. So please tell us who you are and what you do at Your Cosmic Connection.
Well, thank you, Kristina. Again, I'm Michael Riley. I have been a member of this community since the mid-spring of 2023, so we're at 2.5 years, and I am actually getting ready to relocate with the love of my life to the south coast of Oregon here in a few weeks, but it's okay. But the really cool thing about the community here on the west side of Phoenix is the people are sincere. There's always really interesting things that are going on, and everybody wants to learn more things. So there are several people in the community who have unique gifts, unique education, unique skills, and we'd love to share it with everyone else. So answer your question, Kristina, the main things that I have focused on during my time here is, the inspired spirit writing that we're going to be talking about today, which includes my final class will be this Friday. We'll talk about that later. And then also, I think the most fun I've had here, and I've had a lot of fun with everything, but the most fun I've had has been helping to develop the podcasters, podcast skills in the community. We've had about 25 people come through the podcast training in the last year.
Oh, wow.
So, and some of them are now doing their own podcast. We focus on how to be a guest on a podcast. So I hope I give a good example today. And then the last thing, I guess, that we focused on anyway, is this wonderful Tuesday evening, we call it a development circle, where you get to come down, whether you're a beginner or advanced, and practice those third eye skills, where you open up and we read each other and we share knowledge and information in a really practical, down-to-earth, plain English way.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us a little more. So this is what you do at Your Cosmic Connection, but tell us who you are and how did you get into all this? Because not everyone is born with all the spiritual mindset, we're just...
I hear that. I was unaware of a lot of these things up until, it's been a few years now. But I started, I guess you could say, the first time I began to realize that there was a lot more going on than, what was mainstream, was probably back in the late 70s, the early 80s. I'll tell you when I first really realized it. I was in the Air Force. This is Veterans Day, by the way, so it's a good day for me to be here.
And it's 11/11 too, so this is a perfect alignment for trying to reconnect. Ooh, okay.
Are we offline?
I don't know.
There's a retry button on the bottom. I think.
It says finish.
Finish?
Yeah. Or just start talking about Air Force in 11/11.
The energy went.
Let me see.
Okay.
Due to the poor wireless connection, your broadcast has been paused. Consider moving to find a better signal, or you can end the broadcast. Oh, we're back.
We're back. Okay. Good.
Okay, spirits, hold on. We need to. The energy is strong. It's building up. We'll see what happens.
Kristina, when we were offline there for a moment, Kristina said, I just saw you said Air Force and 11/11 and it went away.
Right? So, could be coincidence, but there's no coincidences in the world.
So we were talking about how I got started or where this came from.
Right.
So I was in the Air Force. This was in 1981. I was over in Japan for the island of Okinawa. I was over there for a couple months. And I had a lot of time on my hands, so I would go for walks, just at night especially. The weather was just gorgeous over there. I go for these long walks, and I had a lot on my mind at the time. I'll skip that part of the story. But I started feeling like I was talking to somebody, like I was getting information coming back to me, and I opened myself up to it. And at first I thought it was just my imagination, but it turned out to be actual, what I didn't know to term this for many years, but it turned out to be my higher self, if you will. Our direct connection to spirit and the way that we're built, the way that we are structured to have a human lifetime includes direct access to our souls and how we communicate with that. And so my communication with my higher self started then on these long walks I'd go for, and I would just like process all this stuff. I didn't even call it processing. I just talked. And so all these wonderful things came to me. And then I started writing like this a few years later. Now, fast forward about 15 years. In 1996, I believe it was, the book Conversations with God came out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's when people ask me for a primer, you know, a spiritual primer, I always point to that book along with a handful of others, but that was a huge one. The way that Neil Donald Walsh communicated with the Spirit of God was through his higher self. It doesn't say that in the book, but those are the mechanics. I'd been doing that for 3 years before that book came out. And then I found out that other people had as well, but I just wasn't called to be the one to present that to the world.
Right.
So when I saw that come out and I compared it to what I'd been doing, I made a slight adjustment because his was actually easier to process and it was more direct, and I just opened up and went, yeah, this is real. So I started walking that path. I met a spiritual teacher, and I had a Mr. Miyagi, so to speak, Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid, you know, the sensei teacher to Daniel-san. I had my own Mr. Miyagi, only it was a woman. She was an older lady named Karen, and she mentored me. I learned so much from her. So she helped me connect directly to my own spiritual sources. And now that's the work that I carry on today, 30 plus years later, is helping people connect with their own source.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And then that book, so there's Conversations with God, there's 3 books. So they start with the first one is more about you and just general human life, right? And then the second is more kind of like the society, economics, all that stuff. And then the third one is already more like on a cosmic level. So wow.
Well, those would be books. The original Conversations with God is not numbered. Then there's 2 and 3. And he went on to write other books as well. And I think he did a total of 10.
Oh, I didn't know.
The last one he did, the conversation starts with, "This will be our last book." So it's like Communion with God, I think might have been that one. I'm not sure. But anyway, no, he went on and he still speaks to this day.
Right.
Yeah.
So when are you writing your book?
It's in process right now. Yes.
So mark your calendars whenever it's going to be coming out.
Yes.
You don't know yet, right? But
so what my calling now is not only helping people connect to source, but helping people stop being afraid to reveal who they are, because of all the consequences, all the things that people are afraid will happen if they don't, if they let people find out that they have, you know, let's even just say developed intuition. You know, they have intuitive skills, let alone mediumship skills or whatever else. The society is still, but it's a lot more open now.
Sure.
And we're able to be more open now. So in a way, it's coming out of the spiritual closet, so to speak. Yeah. So that's my work now.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing. So, this Friday at Your Cosmic Connection, you are teaching the class that's called Inspired Spirit Writing Class, right? And it is on November 14th, this Friday at 1 o'clock. And so it's basically you're doing the channeling, right? Not channeling, but you're connecting to your higher self, communicating with the spirit, but then you're using the pen and paper to do the process instead of just thinking or speaking out loud.
Yes, and it is actually, what it does is it gives you, I guess you could say, a device through which the last part of what you just said, thinking and speaking out loud, it gives you another way to process that flow of information. It gives you a focal point. Okay, so it is inspired spirit writing, and there's a distinction between that and automatic writing. Okay, automatic writing traditionally is where you pen and paper, and you just kind of release your mind from your hand, and you just automatically start writing. It's a form of trance channeling, where your hand, at least part of you, is in a trance, and you're just letting your hand write. Inspired spirit writing is conscious channeling, not trance. So you remain conscious, but if you open up, you alter ground, you feel that expansion in your consciousness while it's going on. And now you have this technique by which you can start letting that flow. And so that's what the class teaches you how to do.
Can you talk about the technique?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, that's okay. Well, let's talk about what keeps the technique from working, because this is probably it's a very good portion of the class. In order for this to function, the first thing we have to do is put the thinking mind into a place that it's not editing or demanding that you justify or prove information as it flows. Okay. Also, we're not saying take your logical mind and shove it out the door. The mind is a wonderful servant, but as they say, a terrible master.
True.
And the mind is always demanding that it approve of anything that you're going to take in. So it's like you'd think it was from Missouri, the show me mind, show me, prove it to me before I'm going to validate it. And so it's more leaning toward the concept of I'll believe it when I see it, okay, which is a very human thing. This is more like you'll see it when you believe it. And so the mind remains in a place of rational support. You never want to let go of your reasoning, okay? But its place is not to approve of the flow of the inspirational messages that you get, and that's what it will try to do if you don't tame it first. So there are techniques that are taught in the class that help you to settle the mind, to actually be grateful that you have a good functioning mind, but you're not letting it run the show, you see. So that's probably the first half of the class. And then once you get the mind under control, and I explain how the mechanism, how we're built, okay, with the higher self, what the mind's role is, the difference in vibration. So at the human level, we vibe down here, the higher self vibes up here, so to speak, and how to bring those closer together. So the class talks about that. And then once you have that, because the higher self is always trying to connect with you, always, okay? So when you finally go, hey, what do you want to tell me? The higher self goes, yes, I got your attention now. Very excited, let's talk, So it's, there is an hypnosis technique called quantum healing hypnosis technique. It was developed by Dolores Cannon. And there was also Dr. Michael Newton, if you've heard of him. He had the Newton Institute, wrote the books Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls. And they talk about what happens with the higher mind and the journey after the life, between lifetimes, prepping for the next life. There's this whole structure to the whole thing that through thousands of regressions, they've been able to kind of map this out. So what quantum healing hypnosis technique does, or QHHT, it is a relaxation method. It's a light form of hypnosis that allows you to relax, open up. The higher self is invited in by the facilitator, and now you have direct access, and you can literally talk to yourself, talk to your higher self. And it is just the most fascinating thing. Well, there are different levels of practitioners, and the level 3 is the highest you can go, but this only comes after you have done many sessions and you're certified. There is a practitioner who has been on Gaia, the online streaming platform. Her name is Suzanne Spooner, and Suzanne had some really fascinating QHHT sessions that you could watch on Gaia. And one day, a few years ago, she did one of these things, one of these YouTube, Facebook streams like we're doing right now. And she said, this is a person whose claim to fame is QHHT, right? She's the one that you can look at as like an icon of that whole practice. And she said, You don't need QHHT to talk to your higher self.
Hmm.
She said, all you need is a pen and a paper.
Ooh, okay.
In 6 minutes. I mean, she's not saying disregard QHHT.
Right.
It is very powerful. But you can develop that same sort of flow by using the soul writing techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So you're never denied the access. You just need to know how to use it.
Mm-hmm. So would you think that when you master the pen and paper writing, you can kind of like bump yourself up into the level where you actually don't need to use the pen and paper and you can converse directly? Let's say while you're driving and stuff, you can tap into it?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes. The altered state is actually once you become comfortable with it, and your competence comes more as a matter of confidence. Mm-hmm. And confidence comes through practice. And then you begin to see, oh, that's what this is. Going into it, it might sound like this big mystical thing. But then when you get into it, you realize it's the most natural thing, you know, because you feel the most like yourself when you're doing this. Because it all comes together, you center and you expand, and you go, oh, wow. And now you start feeling what is really true for you without fear. The fear just kind of goes back because you rise up in the vibe. Okay, the vibe goes up.
Yeah.
So when that happens, the fear doesn't have anywhere to get a grip on
That's
you.
more like the ego mind, right? Because the ego
Yes.
mind is limited in a sense, and it operates only through what's already known, or as a human, you know, you've been just through the certain experience of your life, and then your ego mind is operating only through what you already experienced, and it's afraid of tapping into unknown. Versus when you talk to your higher self has access to unlimited potential, everything. Yes. So in that way, it's the fear kind of like is not present. So when you do that, what if your ego mind, I guess it's training process, but what if your ego mind jumps in and be like, no, like, you know, the bringing the fear out. So there's a trick to be like, you know?
Well, there is a way to identify when that sort of thing is happening, and part of the practice is you feel the change in the energy, you feel the change in the vibe going up when you're in expansion. And when the ego mind, as you say, steps in and starts trying to control again, you'll feel it drop. You'll feel more of it's a subtle change, but you'll feel like a heaviness come over you. You'll start like trying to figure it out.
That's probably the what is the word? The center word, figuring things out, because egoic mind is always trying to figure things out, and
believes that it has to. Yes.
And the question is how and when, right? Versus when you're like trusting the universe and your higher self, you don't really need to know that, but it's very hard. I feel like I wobble a lot in that way. It's like, when? How am I gonna do that? Oh my god. That's the egoic mind. But when you go in meditation, you're like, psh, I trust and allow, and it's just kind of this wobbly situation.
Well, it's practical for the egoic mind to step in and say, what is going on here? You know, how does this work? How are you going to make that work? But it's like one of the things that I've taught students over the years is that it takes a tremendous amount of energy to even address a question of why or the mechanics of how than it does to just look at what. This is what the inspiration is telling me. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing. And then it's like, well, how does that work? Or where does that go? Which is fine in an interview case like this. We're talking about how these things work, of course. But when the egoic mind steps in and says, I'm not believing any of this until you can prove to me and give me the map, give me the formula, give me the whatever, you know, I need in order to approve, then it has overstepped. And you can feel that because you go down in energy and it gets hard. You clench. And just imagine that the higher self can only vibe to about here, and you've come up to it. And then the egoic mind kicks in and you start coming down here. It becomes fainter and fainter as you grip. It's a fear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the never-ending fight with the egoic mind, in a sense.
Well, as you get more confident with this, then your competence goes up, your confidence goes up. It becomes more natural. And as you said a couple of minutes ago, can you do this when you're just going through your day? Absolutely. In fact, this has happened to me a number of times on very practical things. One time, many years ago, it was about finding a new place to live. And I had already gone to this one, it was an apartment complex, and it was okay, you know. And then I was clear across town. It had been days. I'd looked at other places. I was heading in to do something else. I'd actually gone through a paid parking thing where the arm lifts up, you drive through. After you pay your money, it comes down. As soon as I got through, my vision just changed. You could almost, I don't do clairvoyant, you know, sudden bursts of clairvoyance, but this was one of the times when my higher self was like, time to act now, right now. And I saw a vision of, it was a scene outside a sliding glass door with rain coming down. And I had never seen that building or that thing before. I just knew which apartment complex it was. So I immediately turned around, drove back out, you know, didn't get my money back. Well, I had to get to the apartment complex, right? And it turned out that apartment had just come open. When I walked in, the manager said, "How did you know? She just told me an hour ago. We haven't even put it up yet." And I said, "Can I see it?" And she said, "Well, you can." Actually, she was the apartment manager's assistant, and she called and said, "Yeah, she'll let you poke your nose in." I looked. There was a sliding glass door with the fence line I'd seen.
Oh my goodness.
It was a sunny day.
Yeah.
But then I lived there for 5 years, so when it would rain, I would remember that. That's a function of not demanding that your mind explain something, that you're open to the inspiration and trust you can feel it when it's true.
And then take action on that inspiration and that impulse.
It's practical. If it's not practical, what good is it?
Right. Yeah. I heard it's this 5-second rule when you receive that inspiration through your higher self, from your higher self through your heart, and you have this impulse to act. You have literally 5 seconds to do that, because then your egoic mind kicks in and it kind of like, you know, do all the logical analytical stuff and can talk you out of it.
So I'll say this: when you're in training, whatever training parameters you set that work for you, practice those. And the 5-second rule sounds like a fine training practice, but then eventually you will develop your own standards as your confidence goes up, because each one of us is unique. You know, so, but you know, I would start with the 5-second rule. But the other thing you don't want to do is, oh, I feel an inspiration, I better act on it right now or I'm going to lose it. That's another form of fear. That's another way for the energy to drop, and then you're kind of still in the soup when you do that. It's another way for the egoic mind to kick in.
Why it does this? It did the same thing last time. I don't know why.
Is it hot to the touch?
Not as hot as before.
Is this where the discussion becomes more intimate with the audience?
Right. I guess I need to reset. What should we do?
I don't know. I think we just keep. I think we keep talking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
the same happened with when we were with Jim. We have some lighting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you the next question then. So, speaking that inspired spirit writing, which is not the same as automatic writing.
Correct.
Why would someone want to learn how to do this?
Well, because again, it's practical. You are able to get answers to anything. What you want to do is know your truth. Okay. There's facts, you know, like things that are coming up. I'd like to know this or that. That's fine. But knowing your truth is really important. And so again, this helps you to focus and know what really matters to you, what doesn't matter. There's this thing called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Okay, where of everything that we do, 20% of what we do brings us like 80% of the results. Okay. And the other 80% of all the things we do only produces 20% of the results. So when you're doing an efficiency thing, you want to focus on that 20% of your work that brings in 80%, right? It's kind of the same thing here. when you have a device or a method by which to get your information, flow with your information, and actually develop yourself more, it kind of spreads out to other things in your life as well. You start liking that feeling of being in a better place. And then when you go back and start interacting in ways that bring that level back down again, that in itself is very telling. And it's a back and forth process, as you know. It takes time. But the writing will put you in a place where you start identifying when somebody's telling you something that's true or not. Okay, when you look at something to consider, you'll feel, does my energy go down, does it go up? There's a lot of practical things that can come from this. So that would be why, if nothing else, just to help you learn what is efficient in you, and that's what will present.
So it's almost like, instead of I don't know, running to like see different kind of like psychologists and whatnot and dig up, it's almost like this, I see it as almost like a shortcut to find of who you are, where you're coming from, what's not working for you, instead of getting someone else's opinion from the outside, because they're all conditioned too. No matter, I feel like no matter what kind of training other people have, you are the only one who's gonna know who you truly are. But then the question, let's say everyone has blind spots. How do you, so when you do the writing, do you think the blind spots are addressed? Can we go into that part of the subconscious mind?
Absolutely. They absolutely will be addressed, and they'll be addressed when you're in contact with the flow. When you're in the flow and you're in the contact with your higher self and others, you know, I believe that the higher self arbitrates every other influence, all the other entities, everything. It goes through your higher self. It's kind of like the cop, you know, making sure that that yes, you can do all of it. Also, the thing I want to make sure to say, I would not ever say don't get professional support in things. This is not a substitute for, you know, true professional guidance. But at the level of trying to sort things out, or what's really true, or what's going on, I would say that you could, in most of the practical, you know, everybody has anxiety, everybody has stress, you know, that this is one way to really sort that out without needing a professional to do that for you. I also think that people can start using counselors as crutches. And this is something that it's not a crutch. This is a very practical thing. Is it a crutch to talk to yourself and ask for your truth? And so whenever there's something that's kind of coming your way and it's not clear, or it doesn't feel, you know, like, you can say, what is this true? Is this not true? You know, the Spirit has made certain covenants, I guess you could say, promises to us, and that is, it's always right there. Okay, so truth awaits. All we have to do is ask. Okay, and it's all been encoded into our DNA. We have everything that we ever need. So this is just one of the ways to access it. But yeah, if you can have places at times in your life when you're broken or breaking and you need that help. So I wouldn't say go to this if you're really struggling with something. I would say get help.
I was thinking more this not maybe on like super deep traumas or anything, just like as you were saying, practical stuff, on more on daily life. I mean, but I feel like you can dive into the deeper layers of yourself. It depends on how well your psyche can handle stuff, because you can dive through the writing and connect to your higher self. You can get into the very deep and dark places of your soul, because everyone has shadows too. So the question is, are you ready, and are you kind of like trained enough in a sense to handle your shadows? Because it's a tough job to do, you know?
It can be, well, one of the things, this is like a church saying, if you will, God never gives you more than you can handle. Let's just translate that into non-religious terms, but still spiritual, and that would be that your higher self will not dump more on you than you can handle. You're not here to be broken and overwhelmed.
Right.
We're here to learn how to navigate through these things. So, but yes, when we're getting into those areas, I sit down and I'll say, okay, this is what I see going on, but what's really going on? And sometimes I think, oh, this is how I want to talk, what I want to talk about, how I want it to go.
Yeah.
And the higher self will step in, the writing will suddenly go in some other direction I didn't even see. And then in doing so, I thought I was going to go down this long road and we'd be hours. And you turn around, get to the end of it, and the higher self goes, no, over here and here, and I'm done. I get it, and it like something resets in me, and then it aligns, and then it processes over, the next however long, and it gets solved that way, or answered.
So it kind of like the egoic mind wants all the drama and long process and all the suffering and
that's great,
and then it's like, no, here's a shortcut and it's easy, and you're like, what? Because what you're talking about, I actually had like a lot of times when I just journal, when I'm not interrupted and just in a good set, kind of like getting in that flow, and it would be that, and you're like, okay. That was that easy. I didn't have to suffer for 3 years, So okay, cool.
Conditioning does that to us too.
Yes, true.
So this is another thing. You condition new things into your routine. Yeah, I've had the benefit of doing this for so long that even if I step away from it for a while and I step back in, I'm right back in.
Yeah. So another question is, can anyone do this process? Because maybe some people, they're like, well, you had this revelation in Japan and you had the perfect things, and who am I? It's like, can anyone literally have an access to their higher selves?
Well, what I've been guided when I was putting this together, I followed guidance, and my guidance said to not say anyone can do this, to say almost anyone can do this. So those who can't would be, as we've discussed, people who are, pretty severely. They could, but it's going to be a whole lot of dark, and it probably not going to be useful for them. Also, any person who is so steeped in needing to be right, needing to be the authority, all this kind of thing, that they won't be able to set aside the thinking mind, because that's their, I would say it's not strength, I call it dependence. When they're so dependent on their mind, and being right and winning, as long as they are unwilling to budge from that place, and we all know people like that, then this won't work for them. But that's not to say don't encourage it, because they still have the mechanism for it. So almost anybody who comes seeking this is, I would say, ready to discover it. Yeah, and it's not this big thing that's way out there that takes a long time. My very first student here 2 years ago, I just had lunch with her the other day and some other people, and it had been so long that I had forgotten that she was my first student until she reminded me. This was back in 2020, early 2024. She said that she took it was a 2-part class then. It's just 1 part now. And partly because people didn't come for the second half, I spent too much time in the first one getting their mind out of the way. And so I figured out, they showed me a better way to do it. So anyway, she came to the second class, and so she had the opportunity to work one-on-one. She said after that class, she would sit down with the pen and the paper and do as, she'd learned. And it was just little bits and pieces here and there. It was hard for her to, draw that out. She said, but I kept at it. And something happened at some point, something clicked, and then there was this flow. And she says, now I can sit down and it just flows. So it's a developed skill.
Right.
You finally get to where you recognize where it is and you're just there. But let me tell you one funny thing about me. Because I wanted to see if this was actually happening, I would write multiple pages and swear that I had gotten the amount of time involved wrong. And what I'm saying is I've always written down the date and start time to the minute.
I do the same, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So, like this date, 3:33 p.m., which is, I love that time. So anyway, and I'd start writing, and then I would be done, and I would I always put a mark at the end of it, a symbol that closes I call it a conversation. And I would look back. One time it was 12 pages, and I went, it's only been, what, 45 or 50 minutes? That can't be right. It must have been an hour and 45. See, the mind is right away going, oh no, it must have been something else, because that doesn't make any sense, you know? So I had to bust myself on that one. And then I started doing this thing where it's like, there's something going on, because it happened 2 or 3 times. And so I started writing down the end time.
Okay.
And there was one time, it was another 12 pager, and the whole thing took 48 minutes. Longhand, full page, longhand, single spaced. So it's like, if I can't write that fast consciously. So if I had been like recording it and watched the recording afterward, I think I'm just doing this. But I would have seen in the video, you know, like a sped up video to 2 times normal speed.
Because sometimes I had this multiple times where you're writing and you're like, oh my gosh, my hand is like cramping, but it's just flowing and you can't stop. You just, there's no even like thought of, oh, let me take a pause or something. You're like literally in the flow, and then the regular kind of like the world around you dissolves. There's no time, no space. You don't think about who you are, how much money you're making, where do you live, what color is your hair. You don't think about it. It's just like this pure consciousness information just coming through. And it's, amazing.
The mind has taken a break. The ego is saying, oh, I think I'll just watch, you know. Kind of like when you're watching TV and you alter, you know, or watching a movie and all of a sudden you're just there and you don't recognize the passage of time. Or this one time, I had a glass with water and ice, and I was sitting on I have a writing table outside. This is years ago. And one of those things happened, and it was before I started writing time down, the total time down. But I looked up, and the ice was all melted, and the water was, you know, ambient temperature. That's how long I've been doing it, and I thought I had just sat down a few minutes earlier. So, but here's the thing: as we're talking about all this altered state stuff, you always retain full consciousness.
Yes.
You never go unconscious. You're never not aware of what's happening. You're always in control. So having the mind settled does not mean taking it offline.
Right.
It just means sit back and enjoy the ride.
Do you reread your writings?
Yes.
How often do you do that?
Well, if I've just written them, I can't, because it's like there's a different mindset when you're reading as opposed to when you're in this. But I would say probably within the next day or so, I'll look back. Or if it's something I've been working on, it might be a few hours. Like I might come back to it later. And sometimes there are answers that came through that I didn't remember writing down, even though I was there.
I had the same thing,
Oh, you've had that too?
Oh, I had it, I had it actually. I was writing, and then I had to take a bathroom break. And then I came back and kind of like I had to read it so I can pick up on the thought, because I'm like, I want to finish this, is really great. And I'm reading and I was like, I wrote this? I'm like, oh my God, this is like such a, I'm that smart?
Yes.
You know, it's like, but I didn't remember. I was like, and sometimes when I go back and read my journals, let's say from year before, when I'm in that flow, I was like, wow. I'm like, good job. It sounds so profound and beautiful and amazing without being like cocky, you know. It's just.
And you know what that does for the thinking mind, the egoic mind? It builds confidence and like, oh, this is okay, this is good stuff. And so the egoic mind starts to invest in it too, and now you're in alignment in your different ways. So the idea is about integrating and being a whole person, not dividing yourself out and saying that part of me is bad and needs to be quiet. Because it's not bad, and it shouldn't be quiet. It just needs to let you function as a whole.
And it's to training, because if your egoic mind is as a wild horse, you know, it could kick you off and end up badly. But if you I feel like I can compare your egoic mind to the horse. I think ride it in, and then you have great rides, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so did we talk about the actual process of? We did, right? You kind of go into the.
It would be a little involved to do it here. I don't mean to make it sound mysterious or hard, but that's what the class does, as we get into the mechanics of it. How to do that.
How does it work? Okay. And then, so next question is then, how do you know if the input you're getting is real or just imagination?
So we did touch on that a little earlier. As it comes in, here's the thing about truth, real truth.
Mm-hmm.
It can't survive the higher vibratory level that you're functioning when you raise up your vibration.
Mm-hmm.
That not that the truth can't survive, but that falsehoods cannot survive. Deception cannot endure that, because you are rising to a higher degree into closer to the divine, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the God energy, the divine energy or source energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so your heart's desire is to rise up into truth, to
Mm-hmm.
know what is, and willing to not be attached to things that you thought you wanted certain outcomes.
Okay.
And so if you're able to do this, you could have things that you believe for years. I'm thinking of one. I'm thinking of one in particular that I believed for years, but then I trusted my higher self to give me the straight scoop on it, and I was not correct. I found out that I was mistaken about something. My ego did not need to be right. So the truth came through, and I felt that. You can feel it. Sometimes you get a tingle, you get a chill. I call mine a truth detector. It's a chill in the back of my neck, a tingling. So that's how I know when it's coming. This is how I teach too, is spirit, when spirit approaches, it comes as a very gentle, it's never like okay. If I'm writing, and I used to get attempts from somewhere of false input, okay, somebody was trying to lie to me, so I just named it the liar. Okay, and you can tell when the liar's showing up, because you tense up, you're worried about something, you're suddenly starting to doubt yourself, your mind is kicking in. So you just simply take a breath. If you're overwhelmed in that moment, take a break. Just walk away from it. Just stop the process. So what you're doing is you're committing to truth.
Right.
And the more you do that, the more clear it'll be.
You're gonna feel when it's the truth, because the truth doesn't need to prove. You just you'll have that inner knowing, right? It's not gonna be, you're not gonna feel doubt. It's just gonna be that.
That's right. It's a knowingness.
Interesting. So, but you said about the liar. I have these, and I think I had some liars creeping in too, and I'm trying to figure out then in that way who they are. Is it like entities that trying to, like these jokers?
Well, now that's a whole subject, but they're I don't think they're very funny. They usually do not have sense of humor. But just think about if you're familiar with the concept of energy manipulation, energy vampirism.
Yes. Okay.
Where you're manipulated to train your focus in a negative or fearful way onto another person or concept. The concept could create a thought form, which actually exists as an energetic entity. Doesn't have a soul. It's just an energetic entity, and its sole purpose of existence is to continue existing. So if you've created it out of fear, now you have a thought form, and it just attaches to you here and just sucks the energy out of here. So if you start to educate yourself and learn, and what you're learning threatens the existence of that, or maybe the energy vampires in your life, we all have them from time to time, or the discarnate entities who like to hang around and try to attach, like the ones who hang around in bars who were alcoholics and they haven't crossed over. There's all books written about this stuff. Then they might be like talking in your ear or trying to convince you of things that aren't true. What we do with the writing is raise the vibration to where it doesn't matter what else is going on. By the way, we're so well protected spiritually and energetically that we actually have to allow ourselves to even be susceptible to that stuff. So if you're really tired, if you're really low, if you've really been upset about something, I can sit down if I'm working through some tough stuff, but I also do a protection thing before I start. I ground, I set my intention, bring in the white light, clear out whatever's not me, and say, if I'm not consciously inviting you here, you're not allowed to come here. And then I ask for the spiritual protection for that.
And they need to submit, right? Because if you command them to leave, they have to leave. They can't be like,
Well, that's true. However, you have to be congruent when you do. Otherwise, you'll only think that you did, and they can still have
feel it.
access. So when you find yourself too off base and you can't get back, just go take a break and go take care of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because in terms of those liars, when my soul chose a path in this life, financially being very like not in a good place, right? But it's like now I understand. Oh, through all those struggles, you're learning the life experience as a human. And then when I talk to the enlightened one, the Molly who channels
Yes.
Genghis Khan,
Uh-huh.
he said that my soul literally went overboard with all those challenges. Just be like, let me pick the path where you can really struggle. You're gonna learn so much. And I was like, were you drunk or something? You know? I was like, come on. But basically, so going back to the financial part, I would journal and, you know, kind of set intentions and where
Yeah.
I want to be.
Yeah.
And then now I like when we're talking about it, I feel that slight energy change. We're just like, yeah, you're gonna get your money tomorrow or whatever, and you deserve it, and we deserve it, and it's amazing. And then now I'm like, when I read my journals from even a year ago, I was like, these are false promises, and I was like, who is talking? You know?
Left brain.
Uh-huh.
Because you were talking from a place of needing an outcome, needing a solution,
Okay.
as opposed to focusing on what. It's a wonderful thing. It's taught here at your Cosmic Connection from various teachers, re-emphasizing to always remember to ask what is for my highest and best good, without attachment to whatever that may be. So when we're attached, then we're writing from a standpoint of desire and ego. And then we might get excited. Oh, that sounds really good. That's exciting. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have lots of money. I'm going to win the lottery.
Yeah.
And you can tell when that's happening because you're not grounded. You're giddy. It's almost like you're floating up off the ground and you got one toe trying to touch instead of being grounded.
Yeah.
You know, and so you learn, that's called discernment. You learn to discern when you're getting good information and when you're just being silly. Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that happens where these like false promises come in. It's in a way because it kind of like, it pumps you and it dumps you. Because when you're like so excited things gonna happen and then it doesn't happen, you're like, meh, you know. And it's like, I feel like, I don't know if it's like really my ego. I feel like there's someone else is playing and I allow them somehow to play this game where it's on purpose to help me to drop into the like lower frequencies. Because when you're disappointed that things didn't happen the way you wanted to or desire, then it's kind of, you're like, you know, not feeling good, and then I'll be, you know, not in good mood and be like, I don't believe in all this, blah. It's the egoic mind.
Yeah.
So
just not a shameless plug, but a little promo for tonight's circle and next Tuesday as well. We look at things like that. You know, it's part of the training to know how to settle all of that and just focus. And you're asking for what is right and true. And what is most useful right now? What is for the highest and best of the individual and the group that comes together? And when you do that, you ground and you commit to that is what you really want. You can tell the ego, I know you want to know where the money's going to come from for the rent this month, but right now you just need to be you. Okay?
Yes.
When you have that kind of power, believe it or not, the money follows. It's only when you believe that you need the money that it doesn't follow. Conversations with God, book 1.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So wait, today the Inspired Spirit Writing class you have Friday on 14th at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And today you have, what's the name of the class?
This is our weekly, we call it a development circle. It's a spiritual development circle where we practice, I just call it third eye skills, you know, where you practice your intuition. And believe it or not, you find out that you know more than you thought you knew. Like you say, the higher self is connected and it's more accessible than you thought it was. And so that's what we do on Tuesdays from 6 to 8 is we
6
help.
to 8.
Yeah, we help develop those skills.
So if anyone is watching, I don't know if anyone is watching now, but if anyone is watching or listening this and you know, your higher self is like, come to your Cosmic Connection and connect to people and learn more how to develop the third eye skill. Would you say it's like more intuition, right?
Oh,
The
yes.
third.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Intuition, inspiration, you bet.
Yes, awesome. So
We also do a little bit of mediumship.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So come at 6 o'clock today, and if not this week, then on Tuesday, right?
Next Tuesday, and then we're going to take a little break. And since I'm leaving, there is a new facilitator. She's with a group called the Medium Lights. She's a co-founder, and her name is Amy Landa, and she will be the facilitator in December. So, yeah. So it will go on.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so the question is there's any info you can't get from this formal writing,
Oh, yeah.
the inspired spirit writing?
So you're not going to get lottery numbers. I'm sorry. You're not going to get personal information about other people. You're not going to be able to get information on how to cast a spell to get what you want. All those things that are egoic or black magic, how do I manipulate to my advantage? You know, you'll get input. You'll get entities who are more than happy to jump in and tell you stuff.
But you're going to pay the price.
It's the liar. Yeah.
Or can you give away your willpower through the black magic and stuff?
That is exactly what happens. And so don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no need. I mean, why would you give away your power in exchange for something that essentially is force? You know, you're using force, and force always comes at a cost. Your own far greater cost to yourself than anything you could possibly gain from it. Whatever gain you get is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're really not gaining anything.
Sure.
So it's the biggest deception of all. Is they call it selling your soul. I don't know that if you can, but you can certainly suffer for trying.
Yeah.
So yes, there's information you cannot get this way. You can get false input that feels like information, but you'll find out it's not information.
Can you find an information when you're gonna die?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Would you want to know?
No. I think part of my journey is to be here every day in conscious in appreciation. Just be happy that here I am again another day. You know, I'm in my senior years now, and I was single for many years, and then all of a sudden I'm not, and for the first time in my life, I'm with a person who is my peer, who is the best companion and partner I could have had in any way. It's not something I could have gone and found, and I don't think that there was probably anyone else that could have fit as well as she does in my life. So yeah, I mean, I want to live my life as an adventure, not as an outcome. And I could never have seen this coming, and so if I had just kept in the mode that I was, I might have actually blocked the potential for her to arrive, because I'd be trying to control an outcome or control a path. I'm not saying don't have plans or ambitions. That's the other thing. I kind of don't have the ambition in life that I used to have. You know.
Do you think the ambition is more created by ego?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sure. Unless your ambition is to just like there's a difference between egoic ambition and true passion. True passion will reveal your purpose in life.
Yes.
Yeah. But egoic ambition, yeah, I think it runs counter to, yeah.
So when you met your partner, was it guided by your higher self? Did you receive any...
You want that story? Oh yes, I'm always happy to tell this one. I told you I had a teacher, a Mr. Miyagi,
Sorry,
so to
let me
speak.
play a little bit with light. Maybe this thing
See if it'll work.
No,
Not
we're
working?
staying in the dark. It's okay.
So she was also had the same teacher. We both had the same teacher, but she lived in a different state, and we had met many years ago, but didn't stay in touch after the interactions we had back, a long time ago. Well, our mentor died in 2017. In 2023, in the middle of the night, I was at home, and I have an RV where I've been living in a very nice RV resort, but the two air conditioning units on the roof had both gone out, and it was July. It was early July, And so I had one of those little cheap box air conditioners you stick in a window in an apartment, from Home Depot or whatever, to survive. It was 3 o'clock in the morning and about 100 degrees. I couldn't sleep, and I don't remember what I was thinking about when all of a sudden, very strongly, I heard 2 words: find Mez. Her name is Mez Deline. So find Mez, and it was my teacher. I hadn't heard from my teacher in years. Find Mez. So how hard is it to find somebody named Mez Deline? I don't think there are any others, or maybe a couple in the whole world. So I found her right away. I sent her a text message, and we reconnected the next day. She was living in Oregon at the time, still is, but just happened to be in Tucson visiting her best friend, and they were going to be going to Sedona, and here I am in Phoenix, or Sun City. And 5 days later, we're sitting in Sedona having our first conversation in years. No romance, no nothing. We just really felt comfortable with each other, and it was a year and a half later when we looked at each other and went, oh man, we're soulmates. It's just like boom, that was a year ago now. So yeah.
Wonderful. What a great story.
Yeah.
And that's good that you took action on that.
Yes.
Find Mez, right? Because what if you're like, you're hot, you're tired, you can't sleep, 100 degrees, AC, whatever, and then you'll be like, your egoic mind could kick in, and you'll be like, whatever.
It could have, but by then I'd had decades of experience of discernment.
So
I recognized that it was valid. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. And it's not like her name was Karen. It's not like Karen would just pop in at any time. I mean, I had heard from her very rarely, but on occasion I'd get a little 1-2 word prompting, like maybe twice before that. So that was the only time I ever heard anything directive from her. Find Mez is like, but I also think it was just efficient. It's 2 syllables that changed my life.
Wow, amazing.
And that can happen when you're doing this. You can get a message. In fact, on the 28th, on Friday the 28th, I'm giving a talk. It'll be my last talk here. I call it an evening with an angel. Okay. And I'm going to tell a story of how one sentence profoundly changed my entire life in a heartbeat.
Wow.
That's how powerful spirit can be. The healing, the direction, the fulfillment, everything can come into just phenomenal focus in a heartbeat. And it can happen in this type of writing as well. Yeah.
Wow. That's so fascinating.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, so next question is, does it take a long time to become a pro in this technique?
Yes and no. I would say to become proficient, no, not really. Because when you practice it, you'll get the fundamentals down pretty quickly. But to develop your own technique and how it works for you is something that you develop over time. But once you get into that feeling, oh man, this really works, you get there, then you want to practice it, because then it's fun,
Right.
So I would say no, not really. But the longer you practice this, the more profound the input can be. And you're also going to find that it's simple, loving, plain English, straightforward. It's not this, like you're going to get lost in all of this, Latin mumble jumbo, like going to a big church, It's not like that at all. This is practical, clear communication.
Awesome. Okay. So then this class, if anyone is interested and intrigued of this process, and I am definitely, I don't know if I'm working on Friday, then this class is this Friday at 1 o'clock here at Your Cosmic Connection, Friday, November 14th, and it's $20, right?
Yes.
And I think $20 investment is absolutely great sum or amount, because $20 is, those $20 can actually change your life and give you such a valuable tool versus, I don't know, you can go to Starbucks and blow $20 and easily, so think of the great investment this Friday.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 or 4 cups of coffee. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just now $20 is like nothing really, if you think about it. All right. Is there anything else you would like to add or tell us, or?
I just want to acknowledge you. You're doing, Kristina, you're doing these wonderful live streams here, and bringing more of an awareness to the community of what happens here and what is offered. And I just hope that people will come down here to Your Cosmic Connection. Speaking of coffees,
Right.
come down Friday for coffee, 10 o'clock in the morning. We always have a guest speaker. It's a little $5 contribution to help pay the rent, but it also helps pay for the coffee.
Right.
And you get
donuts
to, and donuts, yeah, and you get to meet a lot of good people who come here and just get together every week as a community and say hi. So. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for acknowledging me. I'm really enjoying these interviews because I'm learning a lot. I'm getting to know the facilitators, the teachers here, and just more diving on in community on a deeper level. And actually, I received inspiration of doing these things when I was taking shower, and I get downloads in the shower a lot. And my first download was to interview Sue because I talked to her and we kind of did brainstorming on, she does tarot reading.
You're talking about Sue Lusk here?
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
she's
yes,
one of the
yes.
readers here and teachers.
And that was my first interview with
Yes.
her. And I was like, I need to interview her and go live. And then somehow I was like, well, I need to do this consistently every week. So here we are.
Right on. Yeah.
Right?
And I'm just checking to make sure the green lights are still on. Yes.
It's still on.
So the audio's still going.
Right, and then I'm gonna take an opportunity of this live, and I'm not just doing live interviews. I do guided meditations here as well, and emotional freedom art classes if anyone is interested. So meditation, I will be collaborating with Edward, and we are doing the Galactic Quantum Healing Meditation on November 19th at 12 o'clock. And when I got meditation, I just kind of, my egoic mind goes aside for sure, and then the information flows through for to kind of like it taps into the field of the group, whoever needs what to receive or release, and the information comes through addressing on the collective level and at the same time on individual level. And sometimes it's like, oh, how it's possible, somehow it's possible. And I just allow it to flow, and I have general idea how it's gonna go and what I'm gonna be saying, but very often it takes a very different route to whatever people need at that moment. And then Edward will be tapping into, he always takes us, when Edward guides the meditations, he goes to the galactic teaching planet, so we're more intergalactic information comes through. And then we'll have also pyramids here, copper pyramids created by Leo, and you can sit in a pyramid and amplify your energy. We'll have some tuning forks for extra healing process. And then also I am facilitating the Emotional Freedom Art class on the 29th at 12 o'clock as well here. So I know it's a day after the Thanksgiving, but process is fun.
Oh, we're both working that day. Yeah, Friday after
Perfect.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the evening thing, the evening talk I'm giving is the same day.
Okay,
Yes.
so maybe hopefully some people come on the art class and then come on yours and maybe bring their family.
Well, I hope you stick around. It's going to be a really interesting night.
I have nothing going on afterwards, yeah.
And I hope you do.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah, we're doing it for love donations. Oh, let me just say this.
Yes.
Love donation is, what you feel. We ask for a sliding scale of $10 to $25, but this is a fundraiser for Faith House for the holidays. It's the YCC really supports this. Basically, it's an abuse shelter for women and children, and so that's our chosen charity here to support. So the talk on Friday the 28th at 6 p.m. will be for that, to support that. Also, that evening, it's from 6 to 6:30. We're just doing a kind of a social mixer. Kind of come in, relax, grab something to drink. Non-alcoholic, sorry. And then at about 6:30, 6:45, we'll sit down and we'll get into the evening. It's something we haven't done here before. It's really going to be interesting. I can promise you that. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, either now or later or when you're listening. And sorry for the light coming out. I need to figure out something with this light because it came out when we've been kind of partially in the dark, but I feel like usually people don't really watch the videos, they more listen. I'm the one who's watching for the feedback.
That's good. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're sitting, that's just not sitting
Well,
straight.
there were almost 600 views last time I checked from your last interview with Junebug. So you're doing right. Your people are
Okay.
tuning in.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
And thank you. And we'll connect soon.
All right.
All
Hope
right.
to see you Friday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
How do you think it went?
Yeah. And then I'll finish this.